Guess what? I just started learning assembly language.
No way! That's actually really cool. Though, did you think about picking up a higher level language first?
Honestly? No. I asked GPT what the fastest programming language is, and it said assembly. So I figured, why waste time on anything else, right?
Okay. I love the enthusiasm, but it doesn't quite work like that. In most real world cases, a good compiler will generate faster machine code than handwritten assembly unless you really deeply know what you're doing.
Hold on. Are you telling me that compiled languages like C++ can actually beat assembly? Come on.
It really depends on the task and how carefully you write the assembly. But honestly, Bob, if you don't know the pitfalls yet, even Python could outrun your handwritten assembly.
Okay. Now I know you're messing with me. Python? Seriously?
I'm being totally serious.
Alright, you know what? Challenge accepted. I'm going to write a star pattern program in assembly, 1,000 rows. I'll have GPT generate the tightest possible code it can, and we'll settle this.
Oh, I love it. Let's go.
Running it now. 0.072 seconds. For 1,000 rows, that's blazing fast. I think we're done here.
Hold on. That's cute. Let me try the same thing in Python real quick.
Sure, take your time.
And done. 0.058 seconds.
I'm sorry, what?
That's 20% faster, buddy. But hey, don't feel bad. This actually trips up a lot of people. Want me to walk you through what happened?
Yes, please.
Okay, let's go through your assembly program together. So, your data section defines two things in memory: a star character and a new line character. Execution starts at the underscore start label, which is where the linker hands things off. You load 1,000 into register R12 as your row count and 0 into R13 as your loop counter. I. Oh, and using XOR to zero out a register instead of move, that's actually a smart little trick. On modern x86 processors, XOR clears the dependency chain on that register, which helps the CPU pipeline instructions more efficiently. You got that one right.
Okay, I'll take that as a win.
Hmm. The outer loop checks whether I has hit the row count and exits if so. Otherwise, it resets the inner counter j to 0 and dives into the inner loop. That loop checks whether j is greater than I. If it is, we are done printing stars for that row and we jump to print a new line. If not, we print another star. And here's where it gets interesting. To print that single star, your code performs a system call. It loads the file descriptor, the memory address of the character, the length, and the system call number into registers, and then fires the syscall instruction. The kernel takes over, writes the character to standard output, and hands control back to your program.
Right, that's just how output works in Linux assembly.
Totally correct. But let's count how many times you're doing it. Row 1, 1 star, 1 syscall, then a new line, another syscall. Row 2, 2 stars, 2 syscalls, plus a new line. Keep going all the way to row 1000, and you've made well over 500,000 individual system calls. And here's the thing: system calls are not free. Every single time you make one, the CPU has to pause your program, switch from user mode into kernel mode, run the kernel's write routine, and then switch all the way back. That switch alone costs hundreds of nanoseconds each time, just in switching back and forth, before any real work even happens.
So, the assembly logic itself is totally fine, but the way it talks to the operating system, it's what killing it?
Exactly. You nailed it. Now, here's what Python does differently. Instead of calling the OS for every single character, Python builds the entire row as a string in memory first. Then makes one write call for the whole line. And Python's print function doesn't even flush the output buffer right away by default. It lets the runtime decide when to flush, which can bring the total syscall down from hundreds of thousands to just a handful. So, yes, Python's bytecode is slower than your raw machine instructions, but Python makes around 1,000 syscalls at most, while your assembly makes over 500,000. That overhead just completely wipes out any speed advantage your low level code had.
Okay, so if I had just added a proper output buffer to my assembly, it would have won.
Almost certainly, yes. And that's exactly the point. Higher level languages have decades of hard won engineering baked right into them. Output buffering, memory management, cache friendly layouts, all of it is handled for you by default. If you tried to write a web server in assembly that outperforms Node.js or the JVM, you wouldn't just be writing fast code, you'd have to manually replicate hundreds of optimizations those runtimes already do invisibly.
Honestly, this is really humbling. I thought I was being clever by skipping straight into the lowest level, but I kind of skipped over all the important stuff.
That's the sneaky trap with assembly. It gives you total control over the machine. But total control only helps when you know what to control and why. Learn the higher level languages first. Understand what they are quietly doing for you. And then, when you eventually drop down to assembly, you'll know exactly which optimizations are actually worth making.
That genuinely makes a lot of sense. Okay, I'm convinced. Where do you actually recommend learning this stuff properly? And please don't say GPT.
Ha, definitely not GPT. I'd highly recommend checking out Brilliant. Brilliant is a platform that helps you build real understanding in math and computer science through visual, interactive problem solving and personalized practice. It was built by professors from MIT and Stanford, and every lesson is designed to sharpen your intuition and strengthen your problem solving skills step by step, not just memorizing facts, but genuinely getting it. They even have courses on how models like GPT actually work under the hood, which, given today's conversation, might be a good place to start.
That actually sounds perfect.
Yeah, you can try Brilliant completely free for a full 30 days by going to brilliant.org/premature optimization, scanning the QR code on screen, or clicking the link in the description. And they've also given us 20% off an annual premium subscription, which gets you unlimited access to everything on the platform. Honestly, it's a great deal.
Awesome. I'll check that out right after this. Thank you so much, Alice. Seriously, I learned more in this conversation than I did from GPT in an hour.
That's what friends are for. Now go buffer your output, Bob.
Never letting me live that down, are you?
Not a chance. Thank you for watching, and we hope you learned something new from this video. See you next time.